Thank you for joining again. This is welcome to Global Village Show. Today we have a special program for December. We are very honored to have our great mayor, Mayor Norm Boucher of Medicine Hat. Welcome, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
We also have Dr. Ada Bennett, who is the medical officer for South Zone in Medicine Hat. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Dr. Ada, could you please give us a little bit about yourself?
Oh yes, I moved to Canada in 2010. I was born in Nigeria but grew up in England and Nigeria, so had parents from both sides. So spent my early childhood going between the two countries. And then got to teenage age and moved to Russia to study medicine. So spent about 7 years there doing that, and then spent the rest of the time in England, so specialized, worked there for a while, before in 2010 deciding to move to Canada. So as part of my postgraduate training, I worked as an emergency room doctor for a while, and then went through the full specialist training in public health medicine. So worked a while with that, with the Health Protection Agency in England, which is a little bit like the Center for Disease Control USA. That's probably the best fit for that. And then moved to Canada. So I've been in Canada since July 2010, spent a bit of time in Manitoba, spent most of the time in Labrador, and moved to Medicine Hat in September. So that's...
There you go. I think then coming to Medicine Hat, here is our mayor, I think, Mayor Norm Boucher, great mayor. So tell us a little bit about, I think you told us before, but give us the update of Mr. Norm Boucher in Medicine Hat.
Well, first of all, welcome, Ada.
Thank
I think
you.
you're a good addition to our area. Everybody's concerned about health, so it's really important we have somebody that oversees the system. So welcome to Medicine Hat in the area. Yeah, I'm Norm Boucher, the mayor of Medicine Hat. This is my second term, so 5 years I've been in office, trying to make things better. Like we all have responsibility to leave the vineyard in the better shape we took it, so that's the idea. So, but my previous life was in the RCMP for 30 years, retired as a superintendent. I worked in 5 different provinces and 2 UN missions, had leadership roles in those. Until I came here as the chief of police. I was the chief of police for 6.5 years. And in 2007, I said that would be enough for policing, so I wanted to do something else and challenge myself. And some friends were after me to say, why don't you run? Because the mayor at the time was sick and was not going to run again. So I had a chance, I ran, and I had the opportunity to represent the community and get involved and try to make things a little bit better, like I said before. So here I am. There's all kinds of projects for Medicine Hats that we have worked on, we're still working on. Yeah. So 2013 will have us some more challenges.
When in your childhood, were you ever dream being a mayor when you grew up, or is something that down the road just came by surprise?
Actually, I wanted to be a farmer, so I was raised on a dairy farm. 14 kids in my family, so my dad said there's not enough room for all of us, so so that I changed my mind a little bit. Then after that, I wanted to be a police officer, but being mayor was not in the cards at all. And matter of fact, I didn't even know if I could be a police officer. So, but so I joined the RCMP. I was 19 years old, pretty young, you know, not quite knowing exactly what would happen. And from a very small village, we moved from the farm to a village. And all of a sudden, I graduate from the RCMP, and my first job is at the Prime Minister's residence. Can you imagine? I went from a small little place to Ottawa, 24 Sussex, and all of a sudden, Mr. Trudeau was in and out, and all kinds of other people. Nixon came to visit. President Tito from Yugoslavia came that year, and whatever. So really interesting how your career, your life changes, you know, as you move around. And especially when you go to larger cities, you're challenged with all kinds of different things and some really quick learning. So. But I've been fortunate, and that's the way it is. And today I'm fortunate to be here too, because we have a great city. We just finished our census. We're a little bit over 61,000 population. Wow. Good quality of life, you know, very, very affordable taxes, very affordable utilities. So, and friendly community, and that's what I like.
That's why we like, and that's why we're coming back to Medicine Hat, and we run the global TV show from Medicine Hat because of the good people that you have in Medicine Hat. Dr. Ada, when you were growing up, the same thing. That was something that you were thought that you would be a doctor, or you had some other dream that to achieve when you grew up?
In terms of becoming a doctor, I had an interest in it. I have a few relatives who are doctors, and one of my great mentors was my cousin, a female, 8 years older than me. She went into medical school. She had good things to say about medicine. So I sort of started thinking along those lines, but I was thinking of emergency medicine. I was thinking I'm going to be in the ER, I'm going to be patching people up, and that's what I'm going to do. So I did start off that way. I was doing that in England for a while, in a city hospital, lots of interesting things coming through. But then I started thinking, is this what it's all about? So someone comes in, is having a heart attack, I patch him up, maybe he lives, maybe he doesn't live. If he lives, he goes back, keeps doing everything that he's always been doing, then has a second heart attack. And there were some people, they were on their 4th heart attack, and we knew each other, and you know, it was just going on and on. And so I was thinking, well, is there anything I can do to stop this person coming back in? And that's where I started thinking about a bit more upstream. So what can we do to stop it happening? What causes heart attacks? So a few of the things about our lifestyle that we don't quite do right. I mean, for a few people, there are things we've inherited. So if you've inherited some condition, there's nothing you can do about it. Those are your genes. But for the majority of the things that go wrong with our health, we can control them. And it's about getting that message out that we can control it. You don't want to have a heart attack, make sure you're physically active, make sure you don't smoke, make sure you get good food. But who's going to tell people that? So that was the whole thing. And with most doctors sort of sitting there in the hospital, patching up these people coming in, I thought, well, someone's got to do this. So that's how I got into the program to specialize in public health, which is about working on people before they fall apart, so that hopefully we can postpone I mean, we're all going to die, we get that. But if we can postpone it a little bit, and even if it's not the death, but have a good quality of life, because by the time somebody's had 4 heart attacks, they will be disabled. So whatever life they have left will be limited, they'll be ill. So if we can postpone it and keep people in that good state of life for as long as possible, well, someone's got to do it. And that's where public health comes in.
So more to prevention and proactive.
Yes. So the 3 main things I do is health protection, so stopping the environment from doing bad things to us. Health improvement, so that's where we're talking about making sure we get the message across about the kind of things that people can do to improve their health. And then, of course, there's the disease prevention. So things like immunization that we get into. So making sure we have the right programs to prevent things from happening. So those are the 3 main things I do.
That's very good and neat to know. But also the other alarming factor is mental health.
Yes.
And that's also an issue rising within the population that we live in today. And mainly, I'm not a doctor, but I think it's mainly hardly to do of stress. Yes. Stress that is effect on your health, either it's heart attack or maybe in other factors of health. Yes. So what would you see as we as a society be able to prevent such mental health issue to rise?
Yes. I think the first thing that I often say to people is you can't stop stress. Stress is a factor of life. It will always happen. Okay. But what can we do to, 1, reduce the stress, but 2, improve our ability to cope with stress? Because some of it is about how you cope. You talk to people and the same thing might happen to the same people. One of my clinical roles a long time ago was working on an oncology ward, so cancer treatment. And you would get 2 different people and you tell them exactly the same news. You've got cancer of this part of the body, and the reactions are different. So what is it about them that makes them react differently to the same obviously awful news? And how can we strengthen members of our society so that they're able to cope better with stress. So that's one aspect, but also reducing the stress. So when we look around our environment, what are the kind of things that stress us? So we've got unemployment, poor housing, family life not quite going as it should, maybe a couple of bad news events to do with the health of us, our family. So working on each of them, what can we do? You know, education not quite going well, or for example, as an immigrant, if you come in here, you know, you've got all these skills, but nobody will license you, nobody will give you a job, you know? So what can we do to improve the things that cause stress? But what can we do to strengthen people so that they react better to stress? Those are the two angles I would look at.
I think you're right on. One is, if you want quality of life, you have to invest into yourself, for one thing. So exercise is pretty important.
Yes.
Financial concerns, try to eliminate them. We all want bigger cars, bigger houses, bigger everything, but the reality is there's got to be a balance in there. Sometimes we can't afford what we really want. So, you know, the attitude that we must have towards ourselves and our family, and sometimes moving away. If you're really stressed in a certain type of job, you better look for something else, because some people are. Yeah. They see danger around them and whatever, they don't want to do it. Miners are a good example of that. But no, you're right on. I think it's, we have choices in life, particularly here in Canada. I mean, there's some countries you're in war. I mean, Syria right now, some people want out of there, you know, the issue. But right now, in Canada, we have choices. We have some jobs here, particularly here in Alberta and in this part. But you have to make a choice, and you've got to make sure that it fits with the family also. So attitude towards life and learning from it. But invest in yourself, eat properly, sleep also. Like some people, they can watch TV 24 hours a day, or they're on the internet, and they stress themselves with all the political news, all the news on, you know, on TV and radio and so on, when in fact, they don't have any control over a lot of that stuff. So that's the biggest point, I think. And you know what, I was a policeman for, like I said, for 36 years, and that's where you have to channel your focus. Is really, if it affects me that bad, I either have to ignore it or stay away from it, or move towards things where I know it's going to feel better and I can really contribute and re-energize myself to do things. But some people don't see that way, so that's the issue about mental health, I think, from what I could see anyway.
Yes. Yeah, the other fact I believe is some people might think if they become rich, their happiness comes along with richness. That alone will stress them out because they watch too much Hollywood movies. And life is not Hollywood, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So that also, the question of you looking happiness, what makes happiness? Some people are still looking happiness. So happiness is something that some people might think if you have $10 billion, happiness will come along with $10 billion. That alone is stress.
The issue is still values, though. If you look at Bill Gates, for example, where he took a lot of his money, reinvested it to fight AIDS, to fight in other countries, not even around him, if you do that. But what happens is there's a lot of people who are never happy with what they've got. In other words, they may have several $1 million of value or assets, but they're greedy. They want more and more and more.
Plus one.
That's
exactly.
And then with the Hollywood thing, so they watch the films, but they don't look at the celebrities, because I follow celebrity news. I'm one of those interesting people who do. But you look at it and you see time after time, stars breaking down, ending up, I mean, we assume a lot of them are rich, right? So they break down, they end up in some treatment center with nervous exhaustion. Well, you know, so obviously that money is not all they need to be happy. So
values are important. I mean, some of them go broke. I mean, after having millions of dollars, why is it? And some are on drugs, some are, you know what I mean? No, you're right on. It's keep it honest and keep it forward.
So stay healthy is your message to the community.
Yes, for me, it's about what Mayor Boucher says about making sure you have the right values, making sure you have the right priorities. How important are things to you? So for some people, the job is the important thing. Then if you make that the important thing, then remember that other things will be left behind. For other people, it's the family. So if you feel family is important, then is it necessary for you to spend 70 hours a week working? So it's just getting your values right, what's important to you, and pursuing it, but also being realistic. So, you know, I don't sit there going, well, I wish I was a millionaire and I win the lottery. Well, you know, it's nice, but let's be realistic, you know. And if only I could win the lottery, I'll be the happiest person in the world.
You can't go broke going there, and don't bank on it for your food money because it may not be there.
you might be wasting your money.
Exactly.
So you never know. Coming back, what challenge you face when you first come to Canada then?
Oh goodness, it's one of those things where I'm a foreigner and I speak funny, I behave funny, I eat funny food.
Yeah.
So there's always that thing where it's a two-sided thing. So we can't help it. This is human.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at, you know, non-black Brits as, oh gosh, they're odd people. And they're looking at me going, you are so not Canadian. But how do you integrate all that? So both professionally and personally. So it's about that being taken seriously, both in the professional life and in the personal life. So professionally, how do people view that new person coming into the scene? I mean, one of the issues, I was watching the TV yesterday and they were talking about, oh, we need more foreign workers. Oh, we need more foreign workers. And my husband and I just sat there laughing and we went, well, you know, if you want skilled foreign workers, just round up all the taxi drivers in Edmonton. There they are. Because it's about that acceptance. What's happened? If people came in as skilled immigrants, I'm sure they didn't list taxi driving as their skill. So what has society done to accommodate them? But also the foreigners, the newcomers. So you come into a country and you're still talking about home, and home is somewhere outside Canada. And that's all you think about as home. You've been here 10 years, you're still talking about home. And, it's, you know, what's that saying about the newcomer? So it's about the newcomer making a conscious decision that I will no longer be a newcomer, I'll be part of the society. And it's not about acquiring, you know, the Canadian passport. It's about the attitude. What am I doing to become Canadian? And perhaps if I tried harder, maybe long-term Canadians would accept me better, as well as long-term Canadians acknowledging that, you know, Canada has an immigration policy and there are new people coming in every day. So what's the country doing to accept those people?
Well, if I can, I was born here. My wife wasn't, so I understand how it is when you come from from some other places and you have an accent, or sometimes don't completely understand the culture or the food or the religions that are here, which are we're really mixed. Actually, if you come and you're Canadian, you're a Canadian. You have the same right as everybody else, and I'm the first one to say that, having worked in the UN on a few occasions. No, when you go to a country, but you're right. You have to engage yourself into your new country and be part of it. And the reality for Canada is Canada was built by foreigners. It wasn't the First Nations that built it. They only looked after food and, you know, for their subsistence. But it was foreign money, but also foreign ideas and foreign entrepreneurship that really built those big buildings and the companies and so on. And that's why today, even this week, we're talking about Sinnock, for example, being allowed to purchase. You have foreign money now will be coming in to invest. But as foreigners that come in, if you want to be accepted, you also have to commit. Vice versa. The people that are here should recognize that we had, our ancestors came from other places too. There was a time when we really received a lot of people. We were actually giving land, as long as you cultivated it, you were a farmer. And we still have lots of land. Look, if we drive on the highway from here to Calgary, you know, there's lots of room left. It's just a matter of sometimes the local people become too demanding for what they think it should be. Like doctors, and I have a good friend from Croatia, for example, would like to come here, but his level is not accepted. He'd have to upgrade. So here's the issue. But you're right. But we have to bend, and we have to be able to help out. This has been our tradition in Canada, is to be tolerant, to be patient with people. And we took a lot of refugees, by the way. When it was Vietnam, we took it from a lot of countries, actually. Bosnia was one. From Africa, we took some. whoever was in trouble, we tried to take as many as we could as far as the refugees. So that's who we are.
Yes. Because Canada was signatory of 1959 convention, Geneva Convention,
Yes.
Which they were part of that signature. But again, the fact that it still remains, I was in one of the banks, and there's a young lady and with British accent, actually. And so I was looking for my bank card, and here she is. So she talked to me, and she tries to explain to me. She says, did you have, I said, you know what, I'm not deaf to begin with. So it's yes. It's the ignorance of the person. She can see I was just looking my wallet. Yes. But she was trying to, because simply you're an African, she just assumed, before even you speak, that she just assumed that, well, there's a communication problem. She wants to help you. So it took her about 5 minutes to say, did you have, and I'm just thinking, she must be thinking that I'm deaf. And I said, no, I'm not deaf. And she had this British accent. And I said, you know what, I'm just looking at my card. So if you give me a few minutes, I will find it. And she was very apologetic. So that's the ignorance of the society that we live in, which is part. But as the doctor mentioned also, we have an obligation as immigrant population that to be part of the society, learn from the society, because we are the ones who came to the society, and be productive of the society. And expect that be a role model. If you are a role model for your children, you're building Canada, you're building the society. But if you're not a role model for your child, then you're not building nobody. Yes. That is my personal opinion. I joke sometimes with my kid. She says, you know what, I was born here, so I'm a real Canadian, and you're not a real Canadian. That is Bilan that you met her.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And she says, oh, I like Mr. Mayor of Palestine had Northern Boucher. She has that thing that you signed for her. So okay. She had in a class, and then she had in her class. So and I don't agree. I don't disagree with her. And I said, you know what? You were born here. You were Canadian. I am Canadian as well. Yeah. We are all Canadian. But the difference is we have to make sure that we contribute to the society and yes. become a very positive contributor of a Canadian citizen for the next generation. Yes. So that coming now is Mr. Mayor, is what would you like to see in this foreign overtaking business of Alberta?
Well, the only thing I know is what is reported. I didn't look into that file. Of course, the federal government is there to represent us. So it was accepted. The only thing is there's no clear policy. How did this one get accepted and other ones are not? If you look at the potash, was not. If you look at some of the other ones, it may not be according to him because this closes the door. But why? And you know what? If it's a good investment, if it's going to create a job and so on, why is it not? And the only thing for investors, for us as people who live here and will probably contribute or will have it around us, as companies that supply all kinds of things, work for one, but all kinds of material maybe. What's the policy? What have you determined as a government that is acceptable and not acceptable? It shouldn't be of how people look or their religion, like I said, or who you're dealing with. It should be, here we have an approach for Canada and how we deal on the international stage and accept companies and foreign investment. And we've got lots of foreign investment in Canada, by the way. I mean, the Americans are really big time into Canada. And most of those people who invest are there to make money. And that creates jobs for us and whatever. But let's see what the policy is all about. And that's what I think they've been, for the last 2 years, I've been told, actually, develop a policy. We still don't have it. So now you accept another company, actually 2 of them this week.
Yeah, Malaysia.
Yeah, so it's, and you know what, for me, it's okay as long as tell us what is the norm. Because otherwise it's just not clear. And they always say it's clear, it's not clear.
But our Prime Minister mentioned that will be the last time that they will approve.
But why?
Let's take his word that he said that will be the last. So we'll hope the next coming will have more balanced discussion on the issue. As Doctor, what would you like to say to our viewers for this special event and holidays coming, and your thought?
Yes, for me, I think people should remember safety. Safety in every form. So it's Christmas time, lots of turkeys will be going in the oven. Please cook them properly. Or my office will be called in January to sort it out. But no, but it's a serious thing in that so many accidents happen just from not cooking your turkey right. And so it's something we need to think about. If the instruction says 4 hours, please, minimum 4 hours. And also Christmas, it's a time, you know, we're partying all over the place and we have a few to drink and all that. Just don't drive when you're drinking. And also, if you know your friend who is about to drive has had a few, just don't do it. Take a taxi. If he wants to kill himself, let him kill himself. Don't get in the car with someone who has drank.
Or call the police.
Apparently, yeah. But also, one final thing, Christmas is supposed to be fun. And you just see people, they get so stressed. I must decorate the house inside, then I must decorate the outside. And, you know, I must buy the biggest turkey, and then I must buy all these things. And gosh, I must invite all my relatives, even though the whole year I don't speak with them, and I really don't like that auntie so-and-so. But it's Christmas, I must invite her, and then you get all stressed, and oh gosh, auntie so-and-so is coming round, what am I going to do? It's supposed to be fun. Do you have to stress yourself? Just enjoy it. Have a laugh. It's Christmas.
There you go. And forgive.
Yes.
That's a very good advice coming from the doctor.
Yeah. I really like what Ada said, because we have a tendency in Canada actually to stress ourselves a lot more than we have to. But this is a special season. Especially about family and stuff like that. I mean, there's nothing more fun than watching little kids. I know there's some in the mall with Santa Claus right now when they go, and some are afraid, some are not. Yeah. Some have their wish list with them and so on. But it's an amazing time, you know. And actually, it's a time where, for sure, we should be having again a white Christmas. So. Yeah. If you want to go outside and do some little sports or sleigh rides or whatever it is, and or toboggan or all this stuff, be involved, but be safe. Yeah, I understand that you know, there's a lot of things we can do. Enjoy it. For some people, and that's why if you look at the political things, a lot of people say it's holidays. It is holidays for everybody, but for some they have masses or they gather together, Hanukkah, you know, spend more time with their friends and families. But having said all of this, it's a time to really enjoy who you are. I mean, we're all here temporarily, so make sure you invest. This is a great time to relax a little bit also. By the way, you don't relax very much when you drink too much, because you feel bad the next day or even for a few days. So you're right. Or eat too much for that matter. But, yeah. But for all the people, enjoy your holiday and your Christmas, and make sure your family and your friends are with you.
No, that's well said, Mr. Mayor, and I think we salute you, because I think we have a lot of heroes, those who sacrifice themselves to the freedom of the society, and those who keep us safe, like what you did when you were a police officer, RCMP superintendent, that make safe in our society. Those are the heroes, and we salute them. Until then, I think, and I thank you very much for both of you coming to the Global Village TV show, and I think we hope to see you in the near future, Doctor, and welcome to.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
As always, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ada.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is the end of the program. Thank you very much for joining us, Global Village Show. If you need to watch the past programs, please, you can link on Show TV website and click the website of the page of Global Village. Until then, we hope to see you next time. Enjoy the holidays, and happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Muharram, and happy other holidays. See you, be safe, as the doctor says, don't drink and drive, and let's cook the turkey. Cook the proper way, 400.